Hi everyone, in this video I want to show you a very nice game played between Hikaru Nakamura from USA and Liviu-Dieter Nisipeanu from Germany. The game was played in Khanty-Mansiysk FIDE World Cup from 2019 round 2. In the first round, Nisipeanu managed to win a very nice game against Nakamura, game that I've analyzed on this channel. I'll give a link in the description. I also want to mention that this game was requested by one of my subscribers, Gerard72. The game that I'll show you today was very instructive because Nakamura started to attack on the king side, but Nisipeanu applied the correct strategy and diffused Nakamura's plan very quickly. Let's see the game, where Nakamura started with e4, e5, knight to f3, and Nisipeanu opted for one of his favorite openings, the Petrov defense. Black doesn't care that white is attacking his pawn. His response is to attack white's pawn. This is an interesting opening and very solid in the same time, played by many strong players, including Caruana, who is number 2 in this moment in FIDE ranks. As you know, in the opening we should develop pieces, make castle and connect the rooks by moving the queen. Hikaru took on e5 and won the central pawn, but if black does the same, he will get in trouble very soon. After knight takes on e4, the queen comes on e2, knight to f6, but the knight moves away. We have check and black queen is lost. If black places the knight in front of the king, he will lose the queen, and if he places the queen in front of the king, he will lose the queen. So for someone that is not familiar with this opening, he can go wrong very fast. In the game, Nisipeanu continued with d6, attacking the knight, knight to f3, knight takes on e4, knight to c3, and this is known as the Nimzovich attack. Another way for white was to play d4, occupy the center, and allowing his dark square bishop to develop. What should black do in this position? Before answering this question, we should know that in any position we should look for forward moves. Moving back should be our last alternative. So black went forward, he took on c3, d takes on c3, and in this position white has two double pawns on the c-file, but he can develop his bishops. Nisipeanu continued with bishop to e7, bishop to e3, short castle, black king is safe. The second step of the opening is done. Queen to d2, and it seems that he wants to play long castle and then storm his pawns toward black king. Usually in this kind of situation, when your opponent tries to attack you on a flank, it's better not to push the pawns in front of your king. And the most important thing is to counter attacking the center. That's a very, very important rule to remember. In the game, Nisipeanu continued with a very interesting move, c5. Usually we should develop pieces in an opening, but this pawn controls the center square. He wants to occupy the center with his pawns. Long castle, bishop to e6, next is d5, a3. A useless pawn move. White should have started to push the pawns toward black king. Black played d5, and he's the only one that has pawns in the center. The plan when we have pawns in the center is to try to push them forward and get a space advantage. Also, we should place our pieces in the center and continue attacking in the center, or transfer the attack on a flank. This is a very important rule. Let's see what happened next. Nakamura played h4. He started to storm his pawns toward the black king, but his attack will fail because black has pawns in the center. Nisipeanu continued with f6. He doesn't allow the knight to come to this square and bother his bishop. After this, we had h5, knight to c6, developing the last minor piece, knight to h4, queen to d7, and with this move black connected the rooks and his opening is done. We're entering the middle game and the plan is to start an attack. For this we should look for weaknesses from the fifth, in our case the third and the fourth rank in white position, especially the ones from the big center, this one. And after we identify all these weaknesses, we need to involve all our pieces in attacking these weaknesses, which are the weak pawns and weak squares. We already know that black should attack in the center because an attack in the center is much stronger than an attack on a flank. And for this, black would like to push d4, but he needs to prepare it. He can bring the rooks on the d and on the e file, but it's sufficient to bring the rook on the d8 and then push this pawn forward. Why continue with f3, intending to go g4, rook a to d8, g4, and here it comes, d4. Good move, starting the attack. Bishop to f4, knight to e4, an excellent move, placing a piece in the center. Pieces in the center have better activity. They control a lot of squares. On this square, the knight is looking at many squares in white camp. Nakamura played queen to e1. This is a move back. Our purpose in a chess game is to push our pieces forward and force our opponent to go back. With this move, the knight is attacked for a second time. Nisipeanu defended the knight with the queen, but the queen occupies a central square, which is a dream position for black. All the rules that we've discussed earlier, Nisipeanu knows them and applies them very, very well. On move 17, Nakamura is pushed back and he has a worse position. He continued with b3. It seems that Nakamura got scared and he pushed the pawn in front of his king. This is very bad. We already said that pushing pawns in front of your king is not good. White wants to push c4 and drive the queen away, but black pushes first c4. We also need to take into account that a3 is a weak pawn. In this moment, we have contact between pieces, and this is one of the ways to start an attack. When we do an attack is to push our pawns, make contact with opponent pawns, and exchange them. The second plan is to do a positional sacrifice. After this move, Nakamura took the pawn with the rook, queen to a5, bishop takes on c4, bishop takes on c4, b takes on c4, and what a wonderful defense for white king. He has triple pawns on the c-file and an isolated pawn on a3, which are targets for black. So the king position is very weak. After this move, black continue with bishop takes on a3 check, king to d1, and black needs to continue his attack. Let's look at all our pieces and search for attacking moves. With the queen, I don't see any attacking move in this position. He cannot do anything. With the rook, he can take on d4, but after retaking, both the queen and the knight is under attack, so this is not an attacking move. The bishop can attack the rook, but the rook will take on d8. Another interesting option is to place the bishop on b4 and look at a3. If white takes the bishop, black will take the rook with check. So this bishop to b4 is not an attacking move because white can take on d8. Also with the knight, I don't see any attacking move. So in this position, black doesn't have any attacking moves. So what should we do in this kind of situation when we don't have attacking moves? The rule is to bring more pieces into the game. And a good option for black would be to bring the rook to e8, placing it on the same file with white queen. Let's see this option, and after this, queen takes on d8, check, queen to d2, queen to b6, queen to d5, check, knight to f7, bringing the knight back, queen to b5, trying to exchange queens, but after this move, white cannot prevent mate, so he has to give material. In the game, Nisipeanu played another move, bishop to b4. As we said, this is not an attacking move, so white can take the rook. Rook takes on d8, check, king to e2. It seems that white tries to run. Nisipeanu took the pawn, but there was another option for black spotted by the computer when black is going for the queen, for white queen, and also for the mate. Let's see that line. After this move, if black takes the bishop, we'll have check, king to f1, rook to d1, queen takes, check, king to g2, check, king to g3, knight to d3, intending to go to f2, bishop to b8, f5, knight takes on f5, queen to f2, check, king to h3, queen takes on f3, king to h2, queen to e2, check, king to g3, g6, knight to h4, knight to f2, rook to h2, knight to e4, king to h3, queen to e3, check, king to g2, and after queen to f2, king to h3, and knight to g5 mate. But as we saw in the game, Nisipeanu took on c3 with the bishop, queen to b1, bishop to d2. He wants to trade bishops, and if the bishop will take on d2, the queen will come. Bishop to g3, bishop to g5, vacating d2 for the queen, but white comes and defends this. Queen to c5, queen to b3, bishop takes on h4, bishop takes on h4, knight takes on c4, rook to e1, and after rook to e8, players agree to a draw. There was another alternative for black to remove the king from the pin, and black was winning. Maybe Nakamura did not want to see the continuation. He proposed a draw. He already lost the first game, so he did not want to continue the game. Let's see that line where Nisipeanu places his king into safety to h8, queen takes on b7, queen to e5 check, king to f1, queen to h2. The threat is knight to d2 mate, so white is losing material. After queen to b4, knight takes, queen takes to d2 with the winning position for black. The main rule that we've learned from this game is the following: when your opponent attacks you on a flank, you should counter-attack in the center. If you found this video useful, click on the like button, share this video, watch other games from my channel, and leave some comments and suggestions in the comment section. See you next time. Bye.